Simpler. What if failure was no longer an option? What if quitting was removed from your vocabulary? What if today you made a decision so powerful that your excuses started packing their bags? Because there comes a moment in life when you don't say, "I'll try." You say, "I will do it," or "I will die trying." That is the day everything changes. Your life today is the result of the decisions you made yesterday. And your tomorrow is quietly waiting for the decision you will make today. Simpler. Nothing changes until you decide. Not your income, not your discipline, not your character, not your relationship with God, not your future. A weak decision sounds like this: "I'll try, I'll see, maybe later, inshallah someday." But a strong decision sounds different. It says, "No matter what, I will." It says, "I accept the responsibility." It says, "Ya Allah, I am ready to walk the path you have placed before me." Weak decisions are emotional. They are made in comfort and broken in discomfort. They feel good in the moment, but disappear when tested. Strong decisions are spiritual. They are made with intention. They are made with awareness that Allah sees your effort even when people do not. They are made with the understanding that rizq, honor, and elevation come from Him, but effort is your responsibility. Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. That change begins with a decision. Simpler. When you decide to wake up for Fajr no matter how tired you are, when you decide to stop a sin even when temptation whispers loudly, when you decide to work with excellence even when nobody is watching you or shaping your destiny, decision is not just about goals, it is about identity. The moment you decide, "I am no longer lazy," laziness loses power. The moment you decide, "I am a disciplined believer," your actions begin to align. The moment you decide, "I will provide for my family with honor," your excuses start dying. And understand this deeply: indecision is also a decision. When you delay, life does not pause. Opportunities move. Time moves. Age moves. Your parents grow older. Your children grow up. Your body weakens. One day you will stand before Allah and answer for how you used your time, your energy, your potential. That thought alone should shake your heart. Strong decisions create momentum because they remove alternatives. They close the door to retreat. They silence the voice that says maybe tomorrow. When you decide strongly, your mind searches for solutions instead of excuses. Your body finds energy you did not know you had. Your heart gains courage you never felt before. Because Allah supports those who are sincere in their intention. Simpler. When your intention is pure, when your niyah is for growth, service, and excellence, unseen help begins to arrive. Doors open. Strength increases. Clarity comes. But it all begins with one internal moment, a moment where you say, "Enough. Enough of weakness. Enough of delay. Enough of living below my potential. Enough of disappointing myself." That moment is sacred. That moment is powerful. That moment is destiny being rewritten. Weak decisions keep you comfortable but small. Simpler. Strong decisions may scare you, but they make you expand. And inside your chest right now, you can feel it. There is something greater waiting for you. A higher standard, a stronger version, a more obedient servant, a more disciplined leader, a more focused believer. But it will not appear by wishing. It will appear when you decide and refuse to go back. There is a powerful difference between interest and commitment. Interest says, "If it is easy, I will continue." Simpler. Commitment says, "Even if it is hard, I will continue." Interest negotiates with discomfort. Commitment eliminates negotiation. The reason most people remain stuck is not lack of talent. It is not lack of opportunity. It is not even lack of resources. It is the presence of escape routes. As long as retreat is available, excuses will survive. When you tell yourself, "If this doesn't work, I'll just quit," your mind never fully engages. It holds back. It conserves effort. It prepares for surrender. But when retreat is removed, something extraordinary happens. Your focus sharpens. Your creativity expands. Your resilience increases. Because progress becomes mandatory, commitment is a spiritual act. It is a declaration between you and Allah that your intention is firm. When you say, "Yea, Allah, I will honor my responsibility," and you truly mean it, you are stepping into amana. You are accepting trust. A father who commits to providing halal income does not wake up asking if he feels motivated. A mother committed to raising righteous children does not quit because she is tired. A believer committed to salah does not skip it because the bed is comfortable. Commitment transforms duty into identity. When you commit to excellence, excuses begin to suffocate. "I'm tired" loses power. "I don't feel like" it becomes irrelevant. "Nobody is supporting me" stops being a reason. Simpler. Because you already decided. And understand this clearly: excuses grow in environments where standards are low. Raise the standard and excuses feel uncomfortable. When you remove retreat, progress becomes the only direction left. If quitting is not an option, your only option is to adapt. to learn, to improve, to persist. That is why burning the boats has power. When there is no way back to the old life, you fight harder for the new one. Commitment forces growth. It demands discipline. It requires sacrifice. But it also builds character, and character is more valuable than comfort. On the day of judgment, you will not regret the days you were disciplined. You will not regret the nights you worked when others slept. You will not regret choosing responsibility over laziness. You will regret the excuses. Commitment protects you from future regret. When you commit deeply, you begin to move differently. You speak differently. You manage time differently. You guard your energy differently. Because now you are not playing with your goals. You are honoring them. The marketplace rewards commitment. Families are strengthened by commitment. Faith is deepened through commitment. The believer who commits to growth is supported in ways that cannot be measured. But it starts with a decision. No more retreat. No more optional discipline. No more convenient effort. From this point forward, progress is not a possibility. It is a requirement. Every level of growth demands a price. And that price is discomfort, not punishment, not cruelty, but pressure. Comfort is attractive. It feels safe. It feels calm. It feels easy. But comfort has a hidden cost. It slowly shrinks your ambition. It quietly lowers your standards. It gently convinces you that average is acceptable. Comfort whispers, relax, you've done enough. Greatness whispers, there is more inside you. You cannot grow muscles without resistance. You cannot strengthen faith without tests. You cannot elevate your life without sacrifice. Allah tests those He loves, and every test carries an invitation to rise. When you feel pressure, it does not mean you are being punished. It means you are being shaped. Gold is purified by fire. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Character is built through difficulty. If you avoid pain, you avoid transformation. The student who stays comfortable never masters the subject. The entrepreneur who avoids risk never builds impact. The believer who avoids struggle never deepens tawakkul. Discomfort stretches you. It exposes weakness. It reveals fear. It confronts laziness. And that confrontation is necessary, because growth requires you to face what you have been avoiding. The early mornings you do not want, the workouts that burn, the conversations that are difficult, the discipline that feels heavy. That is the price. But the pain of growth is temporary. The pain of regret is lifelong. Imagine standing years from now realizing you could have become more. You could have been stronger. You could have served better. You could have honored your potential. That thought alone should shake your heart. Comfort builds average because it requires nothing from you. Discomfort builds greatness because it demands everything from you. When you choose discomfort intentionally, you gain power. You prove to yourself that feelings do not control you. You show your nafs that discipline is stronger than desire. And Allah sees that struggle. Every step taken in difficulty for the right intention carries reward. Every moment you resist temptation strengthens your soul. Every time you persist despite fear, your rank rises. Growth is not glamorous. It is often lonely. It is often misunderstood. It is often painful, but it is always worth it. The person who embraces discomfort develops resilience. The person who endures pressure develops wisdom. The person who sacrifices comfort develops authority. Greatness is not built in comfort zones. It is built in moments where you wanted to quit but chose to continue. When your body says stop, but your mind says one more step. When your heart feels tired, but your commitment remains firm. When your surroundings doubt you, but your faith remains steady. That is where transformation happens. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your training ground. And if you are feeling stretched right now, challenged right now, tested right now, it may be the exact sign that you are being prepared for a level you once prayed for. Feelings are temporary visitors. Some days you feel strong. Some days you feel tired. Some days you feel inspired. Some days you feel empty. If your life is controlled by emotion, your progress will always be unstable. Because emotions change with sleep. They change with weather. They change with opinions. They change with circumstances. But discipline does not change. Discipline is a decision that stands even when emotions fall. The problem is not that you feel unmotivated. The problem is that you obey the feeling. You wake up and you do not feel like praying. You do not feel like working. You do not feel like studying. You do not feel like trying again. But feelings were never meant to lead your life. Allah did not command you to act only when you feel ready. He commanded consistency. The believer prays whether inspired or not. The responsible person works whether excited or not. The disciplined soul moves forward whether confident or doubtful, because commitment is stronger than mood. Emotion says today is not the day. Discipline says today is exactly the day. Emotion seeks comfort. Discipline seeks growth. Emotion avoids difficulty. Discipline walks directly into it. And here is the emotional truth that many do not want to hear. If you only act when you feel good, you will never build anything great. Marriage requires discipline beyond emotion. Faith requires discipline beyond emotion. Success requires discipline beyond emotion. The nights you do not feel like waking up for tahajjud, but you rise anyway, that builds strength. The days you feel discouraged, but you still show up, that builds character. The moments you want to quit, but you stay committed, that builds identity. Discipline is a form of self-respect. It says my word matters. It says my commitment is sacred. It says I do not betray my future because of temporary feelings. Feelings are unstable. They rise and fall like waves, but commitment must be anchored like a mountain. There will be days when you doubt yourself. There will be days when you feel behind. There will be days when your heart feels heavy. And on those days, discipline becomes your protector, because discipline carries you when emotion collapses. Remember this deeply. Your future family does not need your motivation. They need your consistency. Your goals do not need your excitement. They need your repetition. Your faith does not grow because you feel spiritual once a week. It grows because you remain consistent daily. Allah loves consistent deeds, even if they are small. Consistency is discipline in action. And discipline is the proof of sincere intention. When you choose discipline over emotion, you take control of your life. You stop reacting. You start leading. You stop waiting to feel ready. You start acting ready. Because greatness does not belong to the most emotional. It belongs to the most committed. Feelings will always change, but your standards must not. The moment you stop blaming, you start rising. Blame is easy. Blame is comfortable. Blame protects the ego. It's the economy. It's my background. It's my family. It's my past. It's bad luck. Blame gives temporary relief, but it steals permanent power. Because as long as someone else is responsible for your life, you are powerless to change it. Self-responsibility is different. It is heavy at first. It is uncomfortable at first, but it is powerful. When you say it's on me, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting. You stop pointing fingers. You stop expecting rescue. You start building. Responsibility does not mean everything was your fault. It means everything is now your responsibility. Maybe you did not choose your starting point, but you choose your response. And your response is where your power lives. Allah gave you free will. He gave you intellect. He gave you strength. He gave you time. One day you will stand before Him, not to explain who failed you, but to explain what you did with what you were given. That thought should wake something inside your chest. Ownership is maturity. A responsible man does not blame the market, he improves his value. A responsible woman does not blame circumstances, she strengthens her skills. A responsible believer does not blame destiny, he improves his obedience. Complaining is emotional release. Ownership is strategic action. Complaining says, why is this happening to me? Ownership says, what is this teaching me? Complaining weakens your posture. Ownership straightens your spine. When you take responsibility, you become dangerous in the best way. Because now improvement is under your control. If your income is low, learn more. If your body is weak, train more. If your faith is weak, pray more. If your discipline is weak, structure your life better. No drama, no excuses, no self-pity, only adjustment. Self-responsibility is not about shame. It is about strength. It says, I am not a victim of my past. It says, I am not trapped by my mistakes. It says, with Allah's help, I can rebuild. And that belief changes everything. When you own your mistakes, you grow faster. When you accept correction, you rise quicker. When you admit weakness, you can strengthen it. Pride blames. Power owns. The marketplace respects responsibility. Families trust responsibility. Allah elevates those who take responsibility for their actions and repent sincerely. The day you remove blame from your vocabulary is the day your growth accelerates. Because now every problem becomes a lesson. Every setback becomes training. Every failure becomes feedback. And when there is no blaming and no complaining, there is only progress. Talent is impressive. It shines early. It attracts attention. It makes people say, wow, you're gifted. But persistence is powerful, and power always outlasts applause. Talent may give you a head start, but persistence wins the marathon. There are talented people who never rise. And there are ordinary people who refuse to quitan, they become extraordinary. Why? Because talent without discipline is unstable. Talent without effort is wasted. Talent without consistency fades. But persistence does something different. It builds skill. It builds endurance. It builds confidence. It builds identity. Every time you show up when you don't feel like it, you are strengthening your foundation. The talented person practices when inspired. The persistent person practices whether inspired or not. The talented person quits when progress slows. The persistent person continues when progress disappears. And in the long run, the one who continues always surpasses the one who starts strong. Allah does not ask you if you are the most talented. He asks you if you are sincere. He asks you if you strive. He asks you if you remain patient. Sabr is persistence with faith. When you work consistently with the right intention, your effort carries barakah. You may not see results immediately. You may not receive recognition quickly. You may not feel ahead right now. But every consistent action compounds. One workout does not change your body, but a year of workouts changes everything. One prayer does not transform your soul, but years of consistent salah reshape your heart. One study session does not build mastery, but daily study builds authority. Simpler. Persistence turns average ability into elite performance, because repetition refines you, repetition strengthens you, repetition sharpens you. The emotional trigger most people struggle with is comparison. They look at someone naturally gifted and feel discouraged. They say, I'm not like them. They say, I don't have what they have. But what if you have something more powerful? The ability to continue. Natural ability can be lost. Opportunity can be taken. Recognition can disappear. But persistence is a choice you make daily. And that choice is available to you right now. There will be days you feel behind. There will be days you feel unnoticed. There will be days you question yourself. That is where persistence separates you. Because winners are not always the most talented. They are the most consistent. They keep learning. They keep adjusting. They keep showing up, even when tired, even when doubted, even when progress feels slow. Allah loves those who remain steadfast. Steadfastness is persistence in motion. If you refuse to quit, improvement becomes inevitable. If you keep practicing, skill becomes natural. If you stay consistent, results become unavoidable. Talent might open the first door, but persistence builds the entire house. Your life does not rise to the level of your goals. It falls to the level of your identity. You do not get what you want. You get what you believe you are. If deep inside you believe I am lazy, your actions will confirm it. If you believe I am inconsistent, your habits will reflect it. If you believe I am average, your standards will quietly settle there. But the moment you decide this is who I am now, everything begins to shift. Identity is powerful because it removes negotiation. When a person says I am a disciplined believer, they do not debate whether to pray. When a person says I am a responsible leader, they do not debate whether to show up. When a person says I am a provider, they do not debate whether to work hard. Their actions align automatically. Most people try to change behavior without changing identity. They say, I want to wake up early, but they still see themselves as someone who loves comfort. They say, I want success, but they still see themselves as someone who quits when it gets hard. Change the identity and behavior follows. Allah created you with honor. You are not random. You are not insignificant. You are given intellect, choice, and responsibility. When you identify yourself as a servant of Allah first, your standards rise. A servant does not act carelessly. A servant understands accountability. A servant knows every action is recorded. That awareness reshapes behavior. If you see yourself as weak, you will avoid challenges. If you see yourself as resilient, you will face them. If you see yourself as a victim, you will search for blame. If you see yourself as responsible, you will search for solutions. Identity answers the question, who am I when no one is watching? Are you the person who keeps promises? Are you the person who finishes what they start? Are you the person who guards their character even in private? Your actions are simply proof of your self-image. The emotional truth is this: many people are trapped not by circumstances, but by outdated identities. They are still living as the insecure version, the fearful version, the distracted version. But you are not required to stay who you were. You can decide today, I am disciplined, I am consistent, I am resilient, I am a believer who strives, I am someone who honors their word. When that decision becomes internal, actions begin to align without force, because behavior feels natural when it matches identity. You do not have to force a generous person to give. You do not have to force a strong person to endure. You do not have to force a committed person to show up. They act according to who they believe they are. If you want different results, elevate your identity. Raise your self-image to match the future you desire. See yourself as capable. See yourself as accountable. See yourself as chosen to grow. Because when you truly decide who you are, your habits adjust. Your discipline strengthens. Your standards increase. Your results transform. And the world begins to respond to the person you have chosen to become. Do not leave this room inspired. Leave decided. Do not say, "I'll try." Say, "It's done." Draw the line today. No more excuses. No more delay. No more half effort. From this moment forward, your standard is clear. I will do it, or I will die trying. And when your commitment is that strong, the world has no choice but to move out of your way.